In today's lesson, we'll be learning how to solve equations with brackets. In our first example, we have an equation with brackets. Within these brackets is an x and a positive 2. The 2 in front of the brackets means that everything inside is going to get doubled. In other words, it's going to get multiplied by 2. Therefore, x multiplied by 2 is going to become 2x, and positive 2 multiplied by 2 is positive 4. The 6 on the other side stays exactly the same. At this point, you want to look for like terms. You'll notice that positive 4 and 6 are both like terms. Like terms like to be together, which means you can bring the positive 4 over to be with the 6, or you can bring the 6 over to be with the positive 4. I'm going to bring the positive 4 over to be with the 6. Remember, generally speaking, you want variables and numbers to be on separate sides of the equation. When you bring a term to the other side of an equation, it becomes the opposite. So it is no longer positive 4, it is now negative 4. I'm now going to simplify the right side of the equation. 6 subtract 4 becomes 2. Next, take a look at the 2 in front of the variable of x. What is that 2 doing to it? Well, it is multiplying, and the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide this by 2, and what you do to one side of an equation, you must do to the other. So I'm going to divide that side by 2. These 2's are going to cancel out, which leaves me with just x, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. Therefore, x is equal to 1. In our second example, we have an equation with brackets. Within these brackets, you'll notice an x and a positive 3. You'll also notice a 3 in front of the brackets. That means that everything inside the brackets gets tripled. In other words, everything gets multiplied by 3. So x multiplied by 3 is 3x, and positive 3 multiplied by 3 is positive 9. The negative 15 stays exactly the same. At this point, you'll want to look for like terms. Positive 9 and negative 15 are both like terms. Like terms like to be together, which means you can bring the positive 9 over to be with the negative 15, or you can bring the negative 15 over to be with the positive 9. I'm going to bring the positive 9 over to be with the negative 15. Remember, generally speaking, you want variables and numbers to be on separate sides of the equation. When you move a term across the equal sign, it's going to become the opposite. In other words, it's no longer going to be positive 9, it's now going to be negative 9. You'll probably want to use the number line or a calculator here. Negative 15 subtract 9 is actually negative 24. Take a look at the 3 in front of the variable of x. What exactly is it doing to it? Well, it is multiplying, and the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide this by 3, and what you do to one side of an equation, you must do to the other side of an equation. These 3's are going to cancel out, which leaves you with just x, and negative 24 divided by 3 is negative 8. Now, why is it negative? Because when you have a negative divided by a positive, that becomes a negative number. Therefore, x is equal to negative 8. In our third example, we have an equation with brackets. Within these brackets, we have an x and we have a positive 2. In front of the brackets, you'll notice the number 3. This 3 means everything inside the brackets is going to get tripled. In other words, everything is going to get multiplied by 3. X multiplied by 3 is 3x, and positive 2 multiplied by 3 is positive 6. This is going to stay the same on the other side. At this point, you'll want to look for like terms. You'll notice that positive 6 and negative 9 are like terms. Furthermore, you'll also notice that 3x and negative 2x are also like terms. Like terms like to be together. Also, generally speaking, you want to keep variables and numbers on separate sides of the equation. Therefore, I'm going to move my positive 6 over to be with the negative 9, and I'm going to move the negative 2x over to be with the 3x. When you move a term across the equal sign, it becomes the opposite. So this negative 2x is no longer negative. It now is going to become positive 2x. Meanwhile, this positive 6 is no longer positive. It's now going to be negative 6. We can now simplify both sides of this equation. 3x plus 2x gives you 5x. And here you may need to use a calculator or a number line. Negative 9 subtract 6 gives you negative 15. At this point, I want you to take a look at the 5 in front of the variable of x. What exactly is this 5 doing? Well, it is multiplying it, and the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide this by 5, and what you do to one side of an equation, you must do to the other side of the equation. These 5's are going to cancel out, which leaves me with just that x. And negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. Now, why is it negative? Well, when you have a negative divided by a positive, that gives you a negative. Therefore, x is equal to negative 3.